Good evening, everybody. Thank you, members. Please welcome the Mayor's Chaplain, Sue Fair, who will be saying prayers this evening.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom and support as we begin this meeting. We pray for Mayor Judy as she leads us and for one another. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, to listen to one another respectfully, and allow us to grow closer in understanding our different perspectives as a group. May this council nurture the bonds of community and seek the best outcomes for all. Lord God, fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect the residents, businesses and services of Peterborough, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today is to bring the flourishing of life in all its fullness. And so as the summer heat rises, Lord, I pray for your presence and protection over all the activities in our communities this summer. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Please be seated. I would like to welcome members, those in the public gallery and those watching on the live stream to this meeting tonight. I will now hand over to Rachel, the Head of Constitutional Services, to go through some housekeeping points.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Can all those present please ensure that all mobile phones are set to silent? In the event of an evacuation, please exit through the doors at both ends of the chamber, following the council staff to the assembly point. As per normal rules, if you wish to speak, please ensure that you raise your hand and you'll be invited to address the meeting. The Mayor has confirmed that she is happy for members to stand or remain seated, whichever is most comfortable, when addressing the chamber. All votes will be taken by the electronic voting system. If a recorded vote is requested, this will be taken in the normal way. There is the usual points document on your table. If you wish to raise a point, please raise the pink document and address the Mayor accordingly, stating which point you are raising. There are press in the house this evening, so can you just be reminded that there will be photographs taken this evening as well. Finally, I would like to remind members that this meeting is being live streamed, so please make sure when you speak you are using your microphone. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Agenda item 1, apologies for absent. I will now ask the monitoring officer to give any apologies for absence that have already been received.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We just have one apology for absence from Councillor Rush. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I now ask if any members present are aware of any other apologies for absence, which includes lateness which have not already been read out by the monitoring officer? Thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members this evening which are not already?
Madam Mayor, Councillor.
Sorry, Ray.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As of yesterday, I have been in receipt of a pension and will be continuing getting a pension in relation to the item later on that is taking place. So the Cambridge Pension Group is paying me a pension as from yesterday. So I am declaring that. It's a new thing. I haven't managed to put it on my declarations as yet, but I will not be taking part in any discussion or taking any vote on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I've read all that out. Do I have to read that out still? No. So are there any declarations of interest from members this evening which are not already recorded separately on their individual register of interests? Any more? No. Thank you. Agenda item 3, minutes of the meeting held on 19th of May 2025. I would like to propose the approval of the minutes of the meeting held on the 19th of May 2025. Councillor Dennis Jones, I understand that you are happy to second.
I'm very happy to second, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no objections, I will take the minutes as agreed. Thank you. Agenda item 4, Mayor's announcements. As I commence my mayoral year, can I highlight the first 2 charitable events that will take place? The first one is Taste of Thailand meal at the Duck and Drake in Yaxley on the 10th of July. The second one is a golf day at Alton Firs Golf Club on the 1st of August 2025. You will be receiving further details of these 2 events in your inboxes. Please could I ask for your support and join me at these events to raise funds for my 2 nominated charities. Finally, we are all aware that this meeting has the potential to be difficult and contentious. I would therefore like to remind members to be respectful when listening to the views from other members, and remember that we have all signed up to the corporate values and members' code of conduct. Agenda item 5, leaders' announcements. Councillor Dennis Jones, I understand you wish to make an announcement this evening. You have 5 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'd like to begin this evening by welcoming the announcement of our Labour government and its support for a sports quarter for our city. This very welcome news from Chancellor Rachel Reeves comes as part of announcement of a new £240 million fund to carry out local projects such as our plans for a new indoor swimming pool. It's fantastic news for our city and proof yet again that we're being heard at national level and that much needed extra money is coming our way to back it up. The spending review also includes significant additional investment for local government, including more money to reform the current SEND system, to prevent homelessness and to support adults with complex needs. These are all areas where demand is high and rising, so additional financial support is critical. We will now work with our MPs, the Combined Authority, Mayor and other partners on a business case to progress our bid for a new indoor swimming pool at pace. On the subject of business cases, an engagement exercise is launching tomorrow to ask residents to share their views as part of the government plans to reshape local councils. The comments that we will receive as part of this will be used to inform business cases which will be developed over the coming weeks and months prior to submission to national government in November. Change is coming and we have a fantastic opportunity to secure Peterborough's future prosperity while continuing to provide high quality public services and maintain a strong connection with the residents that we serve. So please take part in the engagement and tell us what your priorities are so that the plans we submit to the Minister later in the year submit these as far as possible. Moving on, I'm delighted to share with you the rapid progress continues to be made in our children's services. Ofsted inspectors again visited in April and concluded that improvements are being made at pace and as a priority. We know that there is much hard work ahead and we are fully insured to ensuring better outcomes for all our children in care. A big thank you to all of our practitioners and staff for their hard work and continuing dedicated work for children and their families, from one proud corporate parent. The progress we have made clearly shows once again that this administration's collaborative approach to working in highly effective is making positive change happen. And finally, we have some fantastic news taking place coming up this summer. The Space and Time Museum, the unofficial Doctor exhibition, has seen over just shy of 6,000 tickets sold, with many more tickets sold for future dates. It's a fantastic exhibition, and if you've not been, make sure to do so. This Saturday there will be an Armed Forces Family Fun Day in Cathedral Square to honour our military personnel, past and present. The day will feature live music, choirs, stalls and interviews with veterans and cadets, with our Mayor, Councillor Judy Fox, opening the event at 11 a.m. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Sorry about that. The mic's gone funny. Thank you, group leaders. I have granted you all 2 minutes to respond. Firstly, I invite Councillor Chris Harper, group leader for Peterborough First.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The news regarding the investment in projects, which includes much needed additional funds for the SEND system, and the great news regarding the local projects fund, which may include the funds for a desperately needed new pool for our city, is indeed very welcome. Also very welcome is the engagement exercise, which asks residents to share their views as part of the government plans to reshape local councils. We urge everyone to get involved and help shape how they'll look and how they'll work in the future. It's certainly good news to hear that Ofsted are seeing improvements in our children's services, and we too offer our sincere thanks to everyone in the team in ensuring better outcomes for all the children in our care. Madam Mayor, if you kindly indulge me, it is also fantastic news that earlier this month, in our rural wards, Peterborough First councillors celebrated the first anniversary of the new Route 27 stagecoach bus service, alongside the dedicated group of local residents who campaigned for the restoration of this rural village's lifeline for residents. That now successfully connects the city with Castor, Aylesworth, Wittering and Wansford. A fine example, a working example of people before politics. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I now invite Councillor Wayne Fitzgerald, group leader for the Conservatives.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Pleasure to be back here. Good to see you in your first meeting proper, as it were. So, in response to Councillor Jones's announcements today, I would echo the words of Councillor Harper as well. And it's always great to hear of any investment into the city. But I'd just add a word of caution. We need to be more ambitious in our vision for the city's sporting and cultural ambition. And I know Councillor Tighe would have some thought and input on that, perhaps, having headed up Vivacity for some time. But both the city's MPs seem reluctant to engage with our new Conservative mayor. If press is to believe, maybe it's time for the leader of the Labour group to bang a few heads together and get them round the table in a collaborative way in order to get Peterborough moving. As for local government reform, we, the Conservatives, welcome those changes, and I've long advocated for them to come. It will only make us more resilient and stronger in the future. As for the success in children's services, everybody should be congratulated in terms of those people that sit on committees, the cabinet member involved and the cabinet as a whole, and indeed the officers who've worked so hard to improve those matters. On the other things that are happening in the city, there's one thing I can promise you, Dennis. I shan't be there singing. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I now invite Councillor Christian Hogg, group leader for the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great news to have secured a principal funding for a regional pool replacement. A quick reminder that the Lido is open again for the summer season. The Vivacity team, supported by the Friends of the Lido, have worked tirelessly to get this cherished asset ready for opening. A special shout out to duty managers Gemma Rees and Mark Harrington on that work. We have welcomed 936 swimmers in the first week alone, although I'm not sure if that includes the strange Victorian gentleman that turned up on the opening day. The local government restructure will see the removal of district and county councils in favour of unitaries such as ourselves, and an inevitable expansion of Peterborough City Council to incorporate one or more of the areas currently covered by neighbouring district councils. So it's important that Peterborough residents have their say. Great to see that the Doctor Who, unofficial Doctor Who exhibition pulling in a great number of visitors. The exhibition will be regenerating from time to time. So if you've already been, there will be fresh items to see over the course of the 6 months. Thanks to Amy Rowe for working hard to collaborate with the contributors and pulling it together with great support from the museum's front of house team, marketing team, and of course the Friends of the Museum volunteers. Special shout out to Andy Staten-Roberts, Kevin Bye, Kieran Sidlow, Richard Seven, and Eric Hitchcock. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, I invite Councillor Heather Skipstead, group leader for the Greens.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Greens are also delighted to see the announcement regarding funding for a sports quarter for the city. We would welcome plans to upgrade the existing athletics track as we hold top regional events here. A new swimming pool is much needed. Whatever we build, we'll have for decades to come, so this needs to be of the highest quality and standard, potentially also with provision for a hydrotherapy pool. We have a very high standard swimming club in the city, so they need a good base for their training and competition. On the subject of swimming, we're also pleased to see how much the Lido is being used since it opened on 24th of May. I'm delighted that pool covers will be installed in the near future, and this will hopefully lead to an extended opening season. The Lido really is a jewel in the crown of Peterborough, and I use it as often as I can. I would therefore like to extend to all councillors a challenge to use it at least once this season, and then to make sure they follow Friends of the Peterborough Lido Facebook page and send a photo of themselves to the page so it can be posted for all to see. A local journalist, Stephen Briggs, has recently written it's like being in the Mediterranean, so I think you have a treat in store. They are also offering solstice swims this Saturday and Saturday at sunrise and sunset. The news on the funding for improving SEND services and services for homelessness is indeed very welcome, as we need to progress to protect the most vulnerable. It's wonderful to see that so many have bought tickets to come and see the exhibition at the museum. Of course, current weather conditions help to bring success. It looks like this will continue for the Armed Forces Day this weekend, which hopefully many will attend. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Agenda item 6, questions to the member of the public. There have been 2 questions submitted by members of the public to this meeting. Council Standing Orders allows 30 minutes to consider these questions. Any questions that cannot be answered during this period will be dealt with by a written answer. Question 1 from Mr. Dale McKean. Mr. McKean, you have 3 minutes to ask your question in relation to National Lottery Arts and Culture Projects grant to cover library buildings, renovations and technology improvements.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, councillors and officers. A petition with 1,517 eligible signatures was presented to full council 18 months ago in January 24 to keep Eyes Library, Youth Centre and keep it open and provide senior youth provision. 4 months ago, the government announced councils could apply for £500,000, each council, for library buildings and technology improvements, which the council decided not to do. At that time, we supplied a suggested list of improvements and renovations to iLibrary and the grounds. Now there is a National Lottery Arts and Culture Projects grant to cover library buildings, renovation and technology improvement for £100,000 or more. As freeholders, Council, of iLibrary, and with a statutory duty to provide library services, and by the end of this year, a statutory duty to supply senior youth club provision, will the Council please reassure residents that they are eligible for this grant? What steps are being taken, and will they proactively work at speed to apply for this grant so a second opportunity is not lost?
Thank you. Councillor Alison Jones, would you like to respond to Mr. McKean's question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. McKean, this council is fully committed to ensuring we deliver a modern, accessible library service for all our residents. To help achieve this, as you are aware, we are undertaking a thorough review of the library services across the city, which includes the development of a full needs assessment and consultation process. I'm delighted that on the working party is one of your ward councillors, Steve Allen. As well as helping us to shape the future of our library service, this work will provide a robust evidence any funder will require before approving funding bids. Obviously, at this time, we are not aware of any financial investments which may be required for our library service, as this would fall out of the review. If at that point it indicates any building upgrades were needed, we would have to consider all options, which may involve seeking capital investment to do that either internally or via grant schemes. Meanwhile, Peterborough Limited, as the operator of our library service, is intending to apply for a national lottery grant, and will focus on looking at the digital services. And again, the outcome of this will be part of the review. A survey is being launched actually today, inviting Peterborough residents to have their say on the future of the library service in the city, where we're interested to hearing from interested parties across the 10 libraries and 1 mobile service. Access to this survey will be in many formats to allow as many residents as possible to have their say, and I can provide further details on this. I am aware that you are in regular contact with Ian Phillips, who is keeping you abreast of the situation, and like you, look forward to hearing the outcome of the library consultation findings. We need to ensure that our end goal is to provide a library service which is fit for our needs today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKean, do you wish to ask a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to do so.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes. 18 months ago, the capital requirements were clearly laid out, and for 16 months, no officers have been consulting with the users in Library and Youth Centre. It's not clear in your answer whether the capital requirements are in this grant for the lottery. My question specifically asks, will our capital requirements be put forward, and has it been approved preliminary by the lottery officers, as I suggested they do?
Thank you. Councillor Jones, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Mr. McKean. As we've been clear to sort of state out the fact that we're now doing a full review of all the library and the assessments that are needed within that, therefore any other work that you've been asking about would actually fall out of that review, in terms of it will give us the structure and look to what the future will be in that. So at this stage, there isn't going to be the development of any libraries until we've done the review, and we've obviously done that in consultation. So that's where we are at the moment. Let the review unfold, and then let the outcome of that follow with any capital funding that we might need for any specific libraries in our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 2 is from Mr. Ed Murphy. Mr. Murphy, you have 3 minutes to ask your question in relation to the sale of council buildings.
Evening all. In answering the question, Councillor Jamil, could you speak up, because we find it very difficult to hear over here. There's no speakers or anything. I noted that yesterday there was some discussion about realising assets and how the 5 million that hasn't been realised in cutting the overspend was being hit quite critically by that. So it's something that's clearly on the agenda and you're aware of. My question is, could the Cabinet member please identify which buildings currently owned or leased by the Council are regularly unused or closed empty, and indicate the duration for which each has been remained in that condition? I understand it might be extensive.
Thank you. Councillor Jamil, would you like to respond to Mr. Murphy's question?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would do, and thank you for your question, Councillor Murphy. As you said in the first part, when you were asking the question, we are looking to raise as much money so we can start paying off this £500 million debt that has accrued over the years. So yes, we are. With regards to the question that you asked, can you hear me now or not? Still not? I can't. Well,
I think it's where the speakers are, not what you're doing.
Okay. So with regards to your question, we're happy to provide this information, and I've asked officers to collate this in an appropriate format and share it with you. It is an extensive list, and there is also some of the properties that are commercially sensitive. So what we will do, and what I've asked officers to do, is to put that in an Excel format. We will email you, and we will also put it onto our website, so everyone who's tuned in or everyone who's interested will have an idea of the buildings that we've got and the conditions that they've been in. So I can't give you that at the moment because the list has more than 20 properties on it, but I will do so in the very near future.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, do you wish to ask a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to do so.
Yes, and may I thank this gentleman for putting the speaker on so I could hear the second part of your reply. Thank you. I understand what you're saying is you're going to send a report around. Can I suggest that you include ward councillors in that as well, and they're updated regularly so they know what's happening with empty buildings in their in their ward, and it's good that you're going to publish it online as well. Could you perhaps tonight, this is more of an open question, let me know what the key elements and issues are concerning the assets and any excuses for the current situation? It would be a good idea to report to members, and I hope you take that on board. Specifically, the question I'd like to ask is, do you agree with me that previous sales, perhaps not under your administration, that of property that brought income to the council, for example, county farms, hundreds of thousands of pounds coming in, disposing of them rather than disposing of buildings, disposing of them was a mistake when we hang on to buildings that are actually costing us. We're paying capital on them.
Could you sum up?
Yes.
You've only got 1 minute, thank you.
That was a mistake while we're holding on to buildings like the empty hotel, like Bretton Court, that have been standing empty and are costing us a lot of money.
Thank you. Councillor Jamil, would you like to respond?
I would, Madam Mayor. Like I say, the question you referred to, sales that were done by previous administrations, I can't comment about them. They were done before we were in administration, but what I can assure you is that we are looking at every possibility of raising funds for this council, and we will go out of our way to make sure that no asset is wasted and we do not lose any money.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, petitions. There are no petitions submitted by members of the public this evening. Are there any petitions being presented this evening from members? No. Thank you. As no petitions have been presented to this meeting by members of the public or members of this council, I will move on to item 8. Agenda item 8, questions of notice. There has been one question submitted by a member this evening under 8B. This question has been published on the Council's website and will be taken as read. Council standing orders allows 30 minutes to consider questions in this part of the meeting. Councillor Allen's question is taken as read. Councillor Alison Jones, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Allen in relation to licensing regulation of barber saloons and vape shops? You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Allen, for your question. Regulatory services are very much focused on addressing this issue, and we have increased our inspections of business premises to ensure they are operating in accordance with the legislative changes. These teams are adequately staffed to carry out these functions. We are working in partnership with Public Health, Police, HMRC and DWP to target premises that intelligence suggests are selling vapes, illicit tobacco and contaminated alcohol, and to address trading without the relevant licences or permits. This includes a focus on barber shops to ensure they are acting in accordance with business regulations. The team's work also tests purchases the target of underage selling of vapes, alcohol, knives and tobacco, and we have been successful in supporting the police to discharge warrants on multiple businesses suspected of criminal activity. In addition, we are developing a new process which will allow us to issue fixed penalties specifically designed to deal swiftly with the illegal sale of disposable vapes. It will introduce on-the-spot fixed penalty fine of £200 for any selling of disposable vapes. This will be an additional tool for authorised council officers who will carry out inspections and, if they witness the offence, issue a fine and seize the offending item. We will prioritise this work now and aim to go live in the coming weeks once the governance is approved. As you are aware, we have often targeted campaigns, which is a good example of the work is the multi-agency alliance formed to address organised crimes. And we facilitated a multiple joint operation with the police, led by our own regulatory services, to visit and inspect businesses. This one was in Lincoln Road, leading to significant sanctions, such as the closure order of Euro Foods. I'm confident, and I'm sure you will agree with me, that the same diligent approach will now be applied to the sale of outlawed single-use vapes, which will support the Council's aims to improve the health outcomes of our residents and increase public safety. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Allen, do you wish to ask a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to do so.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Jones. I will have a supplementary, if I may. I will acknowledge that it's good to hear that the Council are putting efforts into this, but only this evening my colleague, Councillor Ray, walked into town from his flat on Long Causeway and saw 6 shops that had disposable vapes on display. So can I ask for further vigilance on that? And also the additional question is, do we have a list of how many barber shops have opened in Peterborough in the last, let's say, 12 months? Because the proliferation of those shops is beggar's belief. I just don't see where the business comes from. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councillor Jones, would you like to respond? You have 2 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Councillor Allen. A mixed bag there. However, if you contact me and let me know the shops that you're talking about, then I'll pass those on to the regulatory services. In connection with the barber shops, obviously I don't have that in my back pocket, but I can find that information for you. And again, it's much part of a wider brief of this cabinet portfolio, but I will find the information out for you, and you can start that process. Thank you, Councillor Allen.
Thank you. There have been no questions submitted by members to the combined authority representatives. I will therefore move on to the next item. Agenda item 9, Executive and Committee recommendations to Council. There are no recommendations to consider as there have been no committee meetings since the last meeting of Council. Item 10 is in relation to the record of executive decisions detailed on pages 11 to 17 of your agenda pack. The leader will introduce this item and any questions will be answered by the leader unless he refers them to another member. I would remind councillors that they should ask questions on the decisions in the reports, and all questions should be relevant to the decision itself. Should I feel that any preamble is unreasonably long, I will instruct councillors to ask their questions immediately. Can members please note that once I have moved on, questions will not be accepted from previous pages. Councillor Dennis Jones, would you please introduce the item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Delighted to introduce the item, and obviously if I don't feel able to answer the question, then I will pass it on to the relevant cabinet member. Thank you.
Thank you. I will take each page in turn. Could members please refer to the title or reference number of the decision when asking a question? Starting pages 11. Councillor Christian Hogg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just on the culture and leisure contract indexation decision, where there was an increase needed to deal with indexation. You subsequently had a decision that brought in the operational service agreement for Peterborough Limited. Now, this is going to have effect on the corporate expenses for Peachhill. Does that mean that you'll have to come back to Cabinet again for an increase in the cost? Or, have you identified what that might be yet?
Thank you, Councillor Dennis Jones.
It's a very good question, Councillor Hogg, and the reality is that I will have to get back to you on that one. I don't think so, but let me check for you and I will confirm it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more on page 11? Page 12? Councillor Christian Hogg.
And just moving swiftly on to the service delivery contract. I know that part and parcel of that means that the operatives from specifically Aragon will be, as they being brought into the council, they will be on enhanced terms and conditions compared to what they are now. And I just wanted to know that, having made this decision, are we any closer to finding out what the cost to the council will be for this decision?
Thank you. Councillor Dennis Jones.
Can you ask us one on sport, please, Christian? I'm going to refer that to the Cabinet member, Councillor Angus Ellis. Angus, would you like to pick that up, please?
Thank you, Leader. But just as Councillor Jones had on the last question, I will have to go and check for you what the cost of that will be, get you an update. Thank you.
I mean, have you got a ballpark even? You know, is it? Are we talking multi-millions? Are we tens of millions? What
I don't
kind
have
of
a
figure?
figure.
Not a clue. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more on page 12? Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'd just like to ask a question on item D on that page. It was a pleasure to hand over the almost 50 million gifted to the Labour administration by our former MP, Paul Bristow, which it's great to see this going forward. I just wanted to know, in terms of whether or not the administration or officers have any idea as to when we might hear the outcome of this submission.
Thank you. Councillor Dennis Jones.
I shall hand this over to Councillor Thorburn, please.
Thank you, Leader. Dates for submission. Well, the 47 million is been approved by government now, so we're moving that forward. I'd expect, it's probably the most important date, I expect shovels in the ground in autumn.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I probably really meant that, as in shovels in the ground in early autumn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan-Ray.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is on the same item of the full business case for the station quarter. So following the news and this being announced that it was in the Cabinet papers, I did get in touch with the officers and asked if councillors would be able to see the full business case so we could look at it for ourselves, see some of the things that were included, celebrate some of the successes. And the response that I received on the 12th of June was, you'll get it when the conditions are all met. We can't share it as of yet. Now, that obviously makes it very difficult for councillors to scrutinise, to look through, to ask any relevant questions that we may have. I'm sure there aren't any issues within this, but it's a success story. It's certainly something we're singing, all the praises of on social media, and yet we're not allowed to see it. So could that be shared at the soonest opportunity, please?
Yeah, I think to be fair, it was actually only approved today, Councillor Ray, but I will confirm that through Councillor Thorburn.
Thank you, Leader. Thanks to Councillor Wright. Yeah. The business case will be published. There's obviously, it's been moving around as conditions change. There's a number of elements to it that you have to be financially astute with regards to publishing things. But overall, yes, you will get a business case that you can analyse and actually look and probably take it the next stage and start looking at what stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 is and start making opinions on that as well, which is probably the important part of publishing it. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Any more? Page 12? No, we'll move on. Oh.
So, page 13. The Peterborough draft plan. I'm aware that the joint scrutiny looked at this and made a couple of recommendations. One of which was to remove the site in Custer and Ellsworth, and also the Green Backyard, where there was an alternative site suggested as well. And I just wondered what the rationale behind just completely rejecting the thoughts from the scrutiny committee on that.
Councillor Dennis Jones.
Thank you, Councillor Hogg. I don't think it has been rejected out of hand, but do you want to pick that up, please, Nick?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Thanks, Councillor Hogg. The recommendations from the scrutiny are no different to any input from the overall publishing of the document for the public. The reason it went in is to allow people to consult on it. So you have your opinion, elements of the scrutiny had their opinion, and we've now gone to the public and they can have their opinion. So it's a balanced piece across the board. And you're right, at that point, at the point of completion of the consultation, we'll come back and we'll start looking at what goes in, what doesn't, how things change. But we need to ensure that everybody has an input.
Like a supplemental on that, if I may, Madam Mayor. So it's my understanding that the joint scrutiny were looking at the proposal for the draft plan to go to consultation, and they made a recommendation that it would be removed before going to consultation. That was what we were told we were doing, and it came to Cabinet, and I wasn't there, but I was online watching, and it was the Cabinet decided not to take the recommendations forward and to put them into the consultation document. So the Cabinet made the decision not to ignore the joint scrutiny and still go ahead with that into the consultation. I just want to make that very clear, and I just wanted to know what the rationale behind that was.
Councillor Jones.
I think without boiling my cabbages again, I think Councillor Thorburn has already said that the recommendations of the joint scrutiny form part of the overall consultation, and it's a view, not the sole view, and it was taken by Cabinet not to take it at that time. Nick, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, but I you know, as you've re-emphasised that point, so am I. It's a consultation document, and everybody has a say, everybody has a view, and the joint scrutiny is no more important than the man in the street, nor should it be.
Thank you. Councillor Nicola Day.
Thank you. My question is on item H on page 13, the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Minerals and Waste Local Plan. It says at number 2 is to approve the Local Development Scheme, LDS, which sets out a timetable for the production of the Peterborough Local Plan and the Minerals and Waste Local Plan to come into effect on the 18th of April 2025. I just wondered how has that Peterborough Local Plan for Minerals and Waste changed the way that we work with minerals and waste at the moment? Just a little bit more detail around that, please.
Councillor Dennis Jones.
Councillor Ellis, do you want to pick this up, or I can tell you up to you? You happy? No? I mean, essentially, it doesn't change anything. The local plan will progress. Even though local government reorganisation is due to take place, it doesn't affect it as we speak.
Okay. Any more? Page 13, we'll move on to page 14. Nobody. Page 15. No. Page 16. Oh. Councillor Hogg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just about the decision on the city centre advertising board's contract. I read the decision notice, and I can understand that you know there's commercial sensitivities here, but there were no figures about how much was going to be coming into the council. But more to the point, what I'd like to know is this new contract going to be getting more money into the into the city? Is it going to be less than the previous contract? Because there's talk of investment in digital signage, which hopefully will mean that there's less manpower needed to kind of do the scheme, as it were. So I just wanted to know what the effect was to the city. Are we increasing the amount of money coming in to the city because of this, or is it just the same amount?
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
I can't imagine it going backwards, but I will ask Councillor Jones to confirm that.
Thank you, Councillor Hogg. What I will do is I'll make sure that you have a very clear document that sets out all those figures and costs so that there's no ambiguity, and I'll get that sorted for you. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I can just add to that, we are looking with an operator to add not just electronic signage, but we're looking at sites where they can advertise, and they're quite happy to pay for that advertising, which will generate income on sites that are around. So they will also generate income for the city.
Any more? Page 16? Page 17? Thank you, members. Item 11 is in relation to the record of combined authority decisions made since the last meeting. I will refer any questions to the relevant combined authority representative. Otherwise, the same rules will apply as at the previous item. Members, these decisions can be found in your agenda packs at pages 22 to 33. I will take each meeting in turn, and members, please refer to the title of the decision when asking a question. Transport and Infrastructure Committee, Councillor Angus Ellis, and they're pages 22 and 23. Councillor Hogg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got two questions on this, as it happens. So the bus network update. It talks about updates on the Tiger Pass and the Tiger bus route services. My first question relates to the Tiger Pass. I believe that during the election period for the Combined Authority Mayor, it was pointed out by at least one candidate that there was only funding available until the end of December for the pass. And I was just wondering, have they been updated on whether or not that is still the case, or whether or not there will be more money forthcoming to continue that scheme forward? And the other thing is that there was, as everybody knows, that we had a precept from the Combined Authority Mayor specifically about extra bus provision within the Combined Authority. And I was just wondering, what does that look like in terms of Peterborough? Are we getting value for money because all our residents are paying an extra amount on their council tax bills? Are we subsidising other routes in Cambridgeshire, or are we getting our bang for buck here in Peterborough? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Angus Ellis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Hogg. First of all, there hasn't been a Transport Committee yet since the election, so I don't have an update on the Tiger Pass, the funding void, but I will certainly ask that at the next meeting if I'm in a position to be able to be there. Also, on the issue about the bus network, I feel we do need more services. There was only about 3 or 4, if that, submitted for Peterborough, including a orbital service, which wasn't an orbital, sort of covered 3/4 of that of Peterborough. So I am pushing officers very hard to submit a number of routes. Of course, we will consult with all members and, etc. beforehand to include a proper orbital service. So these are things which really are on my checklist to do if I'm in a position to be able to.
Thank you. Any more on 22 and 23? We'll move on. Investment Committee. Councillor Nick Thorburn, page 25. Any questions? No. Next one, Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Councillors Roger Antunes and Alison Jones, pages 27 and 28. Any questions? No. No, thank you. And then Combined Authority Board, Councillor Dennis Jones, pages 30 to 33. I thought it'd be Mr. Christian Hogg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just referring to item 9, which is referral from Audit and Governance Subcommittee. I note that there is an item here that says there's a recommendation to ask Fenland District Council not to consider Councillor Steve Tierney again as a nominee for any position within the Combined Authority before the municipal year of 26-27. And I'm just wondering, have FDC accepted that and said that that won't be happening, or have they, has there been a response?
Thank you. Councillor Dennis Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, we have no place on the Audit and Governance Committee. It was discussed once under the previous mayor, and as far as I'm aware, it's not come back. But not quite sure what the relevance is to Peterborough City Council, because we haven't had a say in that since the last mayor. We now have a new mayor. Is he? Yeah, I don't know. We're not on Audit and Governance, so that was the latest update.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you. Next agenda is agenda item 12, motions on notice. We have received 2 motions on notice from councillors. We will begin with a motion of no confidence. I have agreed as Mayor that following the vote of no confidence, we will move to the items deferred from annual council and then return to the second motion from Councillor Imtiaz Ali. Councillor Hogg, would you like to move the motion of no confidence as set out in the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Every year, political groups have AGMs in May, and part of those meetings are to decide who the leader and other officers of the group will be for the forthcoming year. This is a normal and accepted practice. This year, Labour, Conservatives and Liberal Democrats kept with their existing leaders, and Peterborough First and the Green Party had a change. There was no uprising, there was no animosity, just a seamless change. And yet our constitution for Peterborough City Council makes no provision for such a change in leadership of the council. So with changes in the political makeup of the council, the only way you can make a case for change in leadership is through a motion of no confidence. We do need to look at the constitution to see what can be done for this in the future, but in the meantime, here we are with a vote of no confidence. When Labour formed the administration last year, they did so with only 19 councillors out of 60, so less than a third of the council. They were able to do so as the prevailing opinion at that time was that largest party should take the reins. Fast forward to today, and their numbers have depleted to 17 councillors, down to just 28% of the council. They have not reached any agreements to share administration with others and haven't made any confidence and supply arrangements with other parties, to my knowledge. This puts them and this council in a precarious position. We only have to look at the lack of support for their budget in February to see that a further decline would see this council in real trouble. 3 opposition groups have now coalesced around this issue and believe that we can present an alternative administration of 25 councillors, which is considerably more than the current administration. We also have support from some independent councillors who see the benefits of an alliance of different parties would bring to the council administration. Across the 3 partners, we represent a greater cross-section of the authority, including rural, urban and suburban communities, across a wider gamut of political beliefs. The overwhelming desire from residents is to see the council making the best possible outcomes for them. They are frustrated by single-party decision-making and want to see the decisions that put Peterborough first, if you excuse the pun. This alternative administration that we put forward tonight will mean a need for a consensus decision making rather than adhering to a single party policy vision, and worse, one that is influenced by party bosses in Westminster rather than the residents of Peterborough. I could reel off issues I have with decisions made by this administration over the last year and decisions made by former administrations, but this motion is not brought about a desire. It's not for that. It's brought about a desire for positive change and not one of negativity towards colleagues in this chamber. I sincerely hope that if we are successful with the change in administration, we can work with opposition parties and independent councillors via the FSWG, scrutiny and other briefings to get opinions and suggestions to help with better decision making at Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Boyce, will you second the motion and either speak now or reserve your right to speak later in the debate?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm happy to second the motion and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. Does any member wish to speak on the motion? No. No. Nobody else? Oh, sorry. Councillor Cole. Yeah, Councillor Katie Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I address you today not as a politician or solely as the Cabinet Member for Children, but as an advocate and representative for the 56,000 children in this city. These children often lack a platform to voice their concerns, and their needs are frequently overlooked by adults. It is incumbent upon us, as members of the Council, to champion their interests and consider carefully the decisions we make today and how they may inadvertently impact their futures. This evening, I urge each of you to deliberate meticulously on the choices before you and the potential effects on Peterborough's children. The services we provide and the perception of our children's services and the Council by stakeholders, both locally and nationally. They're watching. The Department for Education has expressed significant concern regarding the ongoing challenges faced by this Council, as highlighted through my involvement with the Children's Improvement Board. It is both an honour and a privilege to serve as the Cabinet Member for Children. As someone who was raised, educated and worked as a teacher here in Peterborough, I am deeply committed to making this city the best place to raise a child, aspiring for other councils to look to us when making their own decisions. We have made substantial progress in several areas, with recent Ofsted monitoring visits recognising our achievements. However, there remains work to be done on our journey of improvement. I take pride in our efforts with foster carers and the constructive challenge I have provided officers on a daily basis to act swiftly for the benefit of our children. Our investment in family hubs, delivered in partnership, is making a tangible difference to families. Our Family Valued programme continues to strengthen, enhancing practices and outcomes for children. We are also improving support for kinship carers, something this council hasn't done before. The government's Family First programme, although new, shows promise. I am confident that our Director for Children's Services and his team will execute an outstanding programme, of which I am part of that team, but they require our collective backing to succeed. We are all corporate parents. The educational landscape of our schools is complex, and while I have built strong relationships with head teachers groups, academic results are challenging, indicating more work is needed in this area, not a change of administration. Recent positive financial commitments from the Treasury towards children's services are encouraging. I am dedicated to the continued leadership and support John and his team as they undertake the considerable tasks assigned to them. As the champion for children, I implore you to sustain your support for this administration. Now is not the time for change. We must continue to enhance children's services, stabilise our operations and ensure Peterborough becomes a truly child-friendly environment for raising the next generation we can all be proud of.
Thank you. Councillor Dennis-Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to stand up, if you don't mind. It's interesting because 12 months ago, we offered Peterborough First a coalition that would have had 33 members, a stable coalition. Peterborough First decided that they didn't want to join with the Labour administration. 12 months on, they now want to form a coalition, with three parties and independents, and none of those generate 31, which is the magic number in this chamber. What could possibly go wrong? Madam Mayor, perhaps unusually, I'm going to start at the end and just say a huge thank you to all the politicos, to the officers, to the members of the public that have touched my arm, sent me messages, and I've been almost in tears. It's been humbling and gratifying and touching that those people have said thank you and good luck. That, to me, is worth the world. Politically, I kind of get the desire to grab the wheel. This car has needed this. If you count the car as a vehicle, this council, it's needed specialist mechanics on it for over 3 years. It's now got its MOT, and suddenly people want to grab the wheel. The best that can happen is it stalls. The agenda's moved on. The worst that can happen, it takes it over a cliff. Peterborough doesn't need that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I came into politics to represent my ward. Everything I've done within the council, within the chamber and within this city has been for the betterment of this city. And I hope that everybody, however well you know me, will recognise that is exactly what I've done. Everything I've ever done in my home city has been a welcome bonus. And I'm even prouder of my adopted home and the multicultural city that Peter has become in my quarter of a century. I've only been here 5 minutes, I know that. You know, I'm from the frozen north like Wayne. And I just will finish with a heartfelt plea. Please, please, everybody, leave well alone. Yeah? Don't grab the wheel. We've just got rid of those mechanics. And whilst we're still fragile, we are once again masters of our own destiny. We have FSWG. We have group leaders. We have had 3 consultations where not just the political people, but the people of Peterborough have had a say and an input. We're going through it now with the consultation on the local plan.
Excuse me, Councillor, could you sum up, please?
Yeah, I will. But the one thing I will say to you is, in my humble opinion, it isn't time to stall the vehicle. This is regrettably the wrong thing at the wrong time with the wrong people for the wrong reasons. I ask the Chamber to see reason and allow this city, the people we represent, the consistency, continuity and stability we desperately, desperately need and want. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillors Skipstead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As we all know, politics is often about power and who gets to be in charge. And in all the time I've been a councillor here, 6 years now, I've sat in the opposition seat. This can be a frustrating place to be, and there were times when the Conservatives threw at us, well, when you're in power, you'll get to decide. And words like this can make you want to see the balance of power reversed. But as I see it, and my alliance partners do, it should be more about working together when this is possible and bringing as many skills and as much experience to the table as possible. 2 years ago, when Peterborough first took over, as Greens we were willing at that time to form an alliance and supported the takeover on an informal basis, because for one party to have sole control for 22 years is not really a good position for any council. Last year, when Labour became the biggest party, again, we were willing to go into an alliance, but this was not offered to us by Labour. As Greens, over nationally, we're part of administration on 40 different councils in England and Wales. So when we get the opportunity to have a seat at the table and be able to influence decisions that we see as key for the city, for example, the local government reorganisation, the new swimming pool, the stadium, the local plan, etc., well, of course, we want to be part of that if we can. And as a smaller party, it most often has to be part of an alliance or a coalition. This opportunity has now arisen through a small amount of number changes within certain groups. To my mind, a strong alliance with a formal agreement and a range of views, skills and backgrounds is beneficial for any council, and I believe we have that between our 3 groups. I've lived in Denmark, where the government is always run by a coalition of parties, and it seems to work. We would, of course, work with other groups and continue to listen to points of view on committees and FSWG, etc. This is not a power grab. It's an alternative administration with more councillors involved, with a broader range of experience, which will create more stability and ultimately benefit the people of this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am proud of the work achieved by this Labour administration since May last year. A change of leadership now would be a bad thing, and here are some reasons why. I have been Cabinet Member for Environment and Transport since late August. Prior to that, Councillor Jamil got additional enforcement cameras to help combat fly tipping. I have reset up the cross-party task and finish group and shadowed fly tipping investigations, looking for evidence, and recently the clearance teams. We are working with volunteer litter picking groups and hosting a regular litter and debris workshop. Also looking to work closer with parish councils on things like bulky waste collections, etc. While still a big problem, fly tipping has decreased in the first 4 months of this year by 6% compared to the same time last year before we took charge. We've started the process to insource services delivered by Peterborough Limited to improve services and make accountability clearer for the public and staff, including resolving a pay dispute to avoid potential strike action, working collaboratively on issues like active travel, including extending Thorpe Road cycle lane across Crescent Bridge, getting 2 of the Cuckoo's Hollow bridges built and looking at funding options for the third, and looking for further cycle routes. Climate change action, getting work in place to reduce to net zero for the council and Peterborough as a whole. Sustainable travel, I supported the bus franchising on the combined authority, and I am looking for more bus services, more bus routes for Peterborough. However, I fear that all of this and more will be under threat from a change of leadership now. The proposed alliance has wide differences. For example, on climate change, we heard about, which we talked about back in the meeting earlier on this year, and active travel. This administration has delivered, making sometimes difficult decisions to move things along and to balance the budget and reduce the deficit. We have listened, for example, kept the Lido open, and most recently I have intervened to provide a temporary crossing at Eye to bridge the gap between losing the lollipop lady and getting a new permanent crossing. I urge all councillors to oppose this vote of no confidence. It has no grounds, no democratic mandate, and no way forward for Peterborough.
Thank you. Councillor Knight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Over the past 18 months, our city has seen 3 changes in administration. Each change brings disruption. Disruption that affects not just this chamber, but more importantly, the council officers who work tirelessly to deliver services, and ultimately the residents who depend on them every day. Our residents deserve better than repeated political upheaval. They deserve consistency in leadership, uninterrupted services, and a council that puts their needs first, not one that is distracted by internal power struggles. What our city needs now is stability and a renewed focus on the people we were elected to serve. Constant changes in leadership erode trust, slow down progress, and divert energy away from solving the real issues our communities face. That is why today I will be voting against this motion. I'm not casting this vote for the sake of party politics or personal alliances. I am doing so because I believe it is in the best interests of our residents. I urge my fellow councillors here today to put the city first, maintain stability, earn back the trust of our communities, and stop playing Game of Thrones. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Howard.
Thank you. For you, Madam Mayor. How do I follow that? Thank you. Well, I think, looking at the motion, I think it's quite obvious, if it wasn't before, why I left Peterborough first and rejoined the Conservatives. Because I really worry that this power grab is very self-centred for one person. And that one person who is going to be, if this succeeds, the leader of the council, hasn't done a single media interview, a single radio interview, hasn't gone to the public to tell them what they stand for or what they're going to do different for this council. It's not just about secret phone calls to independent councillors. There are 200,000 people who live in this city who might like to hear what the new leader actually intends to do or what vision they have. So I'm sorry, all this undercover secret phone calls, I've seen it. I've done it to death. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I owe this group an apology because they told me all along and they were absolutely spot on with it. It's just shocking. We're not here to serve ourselves, we're here to serve the people out there. The people out there don't have a clue who this supposed new leader is even going to be or what they stand for. Doesn't bode well. I want to give everyone a warning. The independents who vote for this tonight, you lose your independence because the budget will have to be voted through next year. And if you vote, it's not just about voting tonight for a change of administration. You're going to have to wear it. You're going to have to wear every single council decision that comes through this chamber. You're going to have to wear the budget. There's a 20 million deficit to find next year. Tell me how someone is going to do that any different to someone else, because I haven't heard a thing other than transparency. Well, there's not much transparency. The people out there don't even know who the new leader is. Again, doesn't bode well. Well, we don't even know who it's supposed to be, Councillor Elsey. So that is my point. The public do not know. They deserve to know. We are elected to serve the public, not ourselves. So what I advise the independents, if you vote for this tonight, you lose your independence because you become part of this. You'll be wearing the decisions. The budget this year, all the people in this alliance didn't even vote for it. One maybe did, but most abstained or went against without any alternative measures. How does this group of political groups come together and actually put forward a budget next year? It just doesn't sound very credible to me. I'm really concerned about it, and I'm not minded to support it for that reason. This isn't Peterborough first. I think this is a certain individual first, and for that reason, I don't want a part in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Day.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, people in this room care deeply for this city, its residents and its future. Whether you have always lived here or come to make your home here, it is and has the potential to be a fabulous place to work, live and play. As Greens, we are supporting this motion as we feel it will take this city in the right direction to blossom and grow into something even better than it is. A place where we have sustainable development, the right homes in the right places, prosperity. There's no point in any kind of growth without developing prosperity. Celebration of our diverse communities, flourishing parks and green spaces, better local transport, better education and health outcomes for all, and new jobs, particularly in the emerging technology sectors. Ultimately, we understand we will all have to work together for such outcomes, as difficult as this may seem at the moment, whatever the outcomes are of this meeting. This proposed joint administration will be 50% larger than the current single-party administration. We represent a broader range of the city's residents. Our combined parties represent 76,928 residents, and the current Labour administration represents 40,771 residents. Local residents and taxpayers will get more mines for their money. The Greens are in control and in joint administrations in 40 councils nationally across the UK and have a wealth and depth of evidence-based experience in joint administrations which we can draw on. Joint administrations and alliances can be incredibly successful. They tend not to lurch towards pendulum shifts in policy and offer more proportional representation of our residents' voices. This will enable us, along with our joint administration colleagues, to have robust discussions, debates and implement better decision making. There will be difficult decisions to make, but we will no longer kick the can down the road and will be ready to take on tough challenges through robust decision making. We are ready to work tirelessly together with each other, the city's MPs, the Mayor and the combined authority, to be strong voices in the room to ensure Peterborough gets the best outcomes for its residents. We may not always see eye to eye, but we will work hard, as I have already done so with members on particular issues where we've thought differently, to find places where our ideas and opinions meet and build consensus from those points. We are full of ideas, inspiration and aspiration for this city and for our residents. Engaging with the public more, encouraging public participation in our processes. We feel we have so much to offer, and I ask you to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hemraj.
Thank you, Mayor. I was born in this city, I work in this city, I brought my family up in this city. The Alliance talk about what's best for Peterborough, but what I can see is a massive power grab by some certain individuals in this room. We would be having another change of administration, 3 changes in 2 years. What does that show to our residents in Peterborough? It will potentially say the council's in chaos again. We've already the improvement panel has already left the city to allow us to get on with what we need to be doing. I'm proud of Peterborough and what we do for Peterborough, but I know there are people in this room that just wants the name above their door and just wants the power. Again, what does that show to our residents? We have council reorganisation coming up and changes are coming fast.
We already have discussions and we already work together well on scrutiny committees, the FSWG, and we already have our say. I think keeping the status quo as we are for Peterborough would be the best thing for our residents. We have local reorganisation coming 27-28, and we also have local elections coming up in 2026. Again, we could be going through more changes again. We've got to stop this fighting. We've got to work together and keep the administration and I will be voting against this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Alison Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In our democratic society, voting is a right that we have. In the May 2024 elections, the people of Peterborough voted for us all here as councillors. In that election, Labour were voted in with the largest number of seats and formed the administration. Over the last 12 months, in all we have done and the vision we have created, we have focused on the residents of Peterborough. Yes, we've had to pick up some difficult decisions which were not completed by the previous administration, Peterborough First. However, we have, and we are addressing these matters. We have developed good working relationships with partners, local communities and groups, and likely investors who want and are coming to the city. They want to be part of the growth and development of what we have to offer. We are constantly exploring new opportunities and listening to people to hear what they want, all focused on what will enhance the lives of our residents. We have a good working relationship with council officers and challenge them in all we do and want to achieve. We are transparent and honest in setting people's expectations. The drive and commitment from the leader to cabinet members and members of the Labour group, no one can argue with. At this point in time, the last thing residents need is instability. The next local elections are only around the corner, and who knows what the political scene will look like then. But that is for then. Tonight is what we must focus on. With the projects already in hand and plans for others underway, stalling on these or even stopping would not be in anyone's best interest. Even it would be detrimental. So why would three parties want to join together to form a coalition? What is their motivation? What is their vision for the city? What policies do they have? Do they believe they can sustain that harmonious working relationship? Hitting the ground running as an administration with ours, trust me, will not happen. The time to get up to speed in many areas is wasting precious time for not allowing the administration to continue with the work and vision already started for our city. So tonight, I would remind you all that we are here because someone voted for us. My motivation is to do a good job for the voters, the residents, and help improve their lives, putting them first, not me. They put their trust in you and in me to do a good job representing them in all council matters. Their vote dictated the number on each political party here tonight. We are here because of them, and so we must let their vote be heard as they shouted the loudest. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Allen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've no brief on behalf of the Labour Party, far from it. They are, however, the largest group in the authority. I'm not personalising my comments. I believe this is a vexatious motion. It could be said based on personal ambition and yet another disruptive action. Can you think what the improvement panel would have said if they were still with us? Well, I can assure you that they would not have been happy with yet more disruption. Bear in mind, as has been mentioned, local government is just round the corner, and let's rely on the ballot box to sort out who is on this council and then take leadership. So I cannot support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shabina Quammen.
Thought I'd stand up, but then I thought, no, probably get carried away. So I'm going to actually speak on a bit of a lighter note. I know that people have taken time out to write scripts and have written from the heart and have spoken from the heart, but I'm going to speak actually from the heart and from whatever I can think about right now. And I have friends on that side of the chamber, on this side of the chamber, over here, in my own group, in the public, in the charitable sector. And my bit here is to focus on the residents. All of you who are here who call me friend, none of you picked up the phone and spoke to me about this. And if I was your resident, Councillor Wayne Fitzgerald, if I was your resident, I would be picking up the phone and saying to you now, why? Why haven't you asked me? And that's what, I am his resident, but he's not putting the motion forward. I am his resident. And I have a tree to sort out outside my house because I've received a notification about it from the council. But what I do want to say is, why have you not asked your residents? Plenty of you have come here to validate the fact that you have so many principles, that you have quality, you've got bright ideas. Do you not think that any of us here have those qualities as well? Do you think that we are beneath you? Do you think your colleagues are beneath you here that sit here? Because that's how I see us as a council. And up until local government reform comes into operation, any of us who sits here making these decisions will only have 18 months to do what we do. And I can guarantee you we will probably be cut by half. So my question is, when we have been working up until this time, over the last couple of years, in such a collegiate way, since FSWG came into existence, why are we not able to do so now? Why are we so fractious amongst ourselves? The residents don't deserve it. You haven't asked them. Please refrain from this. We walk out of here, I will still be friends with those that I am friends with. I won't take it personally, but it is disappointing to see that I have no choice but to have taken it personally. And I am disappointed. And that is where I'm going to close. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mohammed Farouk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's the right point to bring it back to its reference point, the discussion, and that is, this is not a vote of no confidence. Only reason we are here is that our constitution did not allow an opportunity for change on the back of elections last month, which is most bizarre. Anywhere else in the world, in any institution in the world, AGMs are there to change or re-elect officers. Last year, I stood up here and I spoke about stability. And I said any leader who comes here must command around 30 votes. The leader then got 20 votes, and in the process, Budget got 21 votes. It was in grave danger of failing. Today, do nothing option would mean that the council policies may not be able to deliver. We need more stable, competent, experienced and collaborative council. Now, coming back to few of the issues. Devolution. This administration has been at the sleep at the wheel. Peterborough has been shortchanged with those three proposals. Ask your MP, don't look at me. Lumped on one side as most deprived area of Cambridgeshire, yet wealthy part on the other end. Why did you not, as administration, why did you not put a proposal in as 3 unitary authorities or as A1 corridor all the way going to St Neots? By making no contribution in this process, the proposals now gone out are going to have a lasting impact for decades and decades for other residents in Peterborough. Here is the next bit. Most of the members, you know, that investment comes from the combined authority and has done so over the last few years because the borrowing at very high rate and PC is not in a position to borrow. Our combined authority Mayor Paul Bristow, who has a huge passion for the city and who's also a very political person, he put his politics aside and put his passion in front and asked Labour administration leader to be deputy mayor of the combined authority. Now, anybody else would have snapped his hand off because you've got a seat on the top table to attract investment for this city. This administration played politics ahead of its city and its residents. Now, I want to go on to a few of other local issues. Swimming pool. 18 months ago, when a policy of demolition of this current swimming pool came to the Cabinet, we asked for a business plan Yet to this day, this administration...
Excuse me, Councillor Farouk, could you sum up, please? The 3 minutes is up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hilton Hotel, 12 months, we haven't even had an ability to put a board up, sailboard up on it. All I want to say, I'm going to be supporting this motion, and I'm stealing a line from Mr. Bristow of a Command Authority saying that vote for this motion and let's get Peterborough moving again.
Thank you. Councillor Blake-Mulcreedon.
Thank you, Mayor. As a ward councillor who was elected under Labour, every decision I make is guided by one thing: what's best for my residents. Today's leadership vote was not easy. I've been open about my discomforts with some of Labour's failings, particularly around safeguarding and grooming scandals, in which I have spoken publicly about. Those issues matter deeply, and I will never shy away from raising them. But following what Councillor Jones has said, Labour won the most seats in the local election, and I believe that democratic mandate should be respected. The alternative coalition, made up by Peterborough First, Lib Dems and Greens, has not convinced me it offers stable or capable leadership for our city. So despite my concerns, I will be voting for Labour to remain in administration. Not out of party loyalty, I'm independent for a reason, but because it's the most democratic and responsible choice in this moment. I will continue to challenge where needed, and I will hold this administration to account. But I made this decision with the people of Peterborough front and centre, as I always do.
Thank you. Councillor Zamir Ali.
I haven't written anything. I'm just listening to some of the absolute, I've got to be careful with my words, nonsense. Something about the largest parties when the Lib Dems themselves are only 8. Peterborough First, I can't remember how many they are. They chop and change all the time. We've got the Green Party, who don't want power but do want power, but like taking credit for everyone else's work as well. I'm bamboozled, and the word bamboozle means cheated, because we are the biggest party. The people are cheated. I can't see this coalition working. I cannot respect this coalition working. And to be absolutely honest with you, I mean, who's the leader? When are they going to be leading? When they're going to show their faces? When am I going to be able to say, this is the council, this is the leader of the council of Peterborough? I mean, realistically, what is this? It's just a joke within itself. This is not a no confidence vote. Well, yes, it is. Let's come to reality here. It's pathetic, I think. So I will not be obviously going with the motion, and I will be voting for my party. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Violin May.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got a lot of thoughts that have come up over the course of the evening and hearing people speak. One of the main things that's been put forward by this supposed coalition is the fact that it's about numbers. It's a numbers game, and we're all aware that votes in this chamber do come down to the numbers. We sit there with our abacuses or calculators and doing all the numbers that we need to do at the start of every council meeting to try and figure out how votes are going to go. Now, I think for that to be the main policy argument on this, for this motion, is wrong. I think for people to say, well, you're not going to have enough votes to get anything through, is almost a threat. It doesn't matter how great your budget's going to be next year, we're not going to vote for it, you're not going to be able to do it, and therefore we don't have confidence in you. The fact that they can give each other the guarantee that they will support each other on a budget that at the minute doesn't exist, that isn't going to be set on a party's policies, because they are different political parties, the 3 different political parties all have different policies. So how you can all go, we're all going to come up with the same budget and we're all going to like it and we're all going to agree and we're going to have enough votes. I want to know where you buy your crystal ball, because I'd like one. Quite frankly, it just doesn't make sense. The fact that your only argument is that we've got the numbers, you don't, is poor. The fact that, you know, I'm not going to sing Labour's praises, far from it, but at the minute, we're at a time where we should be able to do an awesome job in opposition. If the administration is 17, that means there are 43 of us to scrutinise, to hold to account, to ask questions. And yet, as far as I'm aware, there's been one call-in during this administration. So that means there's been one decision that's been disagreed with, that we've brought back, and it has had support from across the different parties, and we've not quite achieved a different result, but it's going through the motions. So if you've not disagreed with things that fundamentally, how can you say you don't have confidence in the job that they're doing? We talk about transparency, and actually it was under the last administration that we had a record number of decisions taken in private. Now, I accept that's done for a whole different number of reasons, but that can't be transparent if it's literally done away from the public eye. So the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me, and for that reason, I will not be supporting the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I suppose I could have a field day here, really, couldn't I? In the sense, been here, done that. And it's not very nice, is it, Dennis? And other members. But what I would remind Councillor Hogg, and by the way, the word you was looking for, Mayor, was hogwash, which is the word you were looking for when trying to describe what's been going on. But look, let's talk about numbers. This council supported a change in administration when there were 26 of us. Right? If we want to talk about numbers, you also supported a change of administration when there were 11 councillors running this council. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So, there are 8 Liberal Democrats. Great. But there are 4 Greens, actually, because, no, there are 4. Because Rangzeb was voted in as a Conservative. Right? And so were a number of others. So if we want to talk about who's voting for who in this city, and I'm sorry, Greens, nobody's really voting for you. You voted for 4 members, and you were fortunate at a time when nobody wanted to vote Conservative because it was a dirty word. And that's because the last government, and they've admitted it, failed to do a good job. But I hear no reasons, I think Alison was summing it up, of failing. What is failing of the current administration? Nobody cited anything. I heard none. What's the plan of the new administration? What is it? Again, I have no idea. Dennis gave an analogy about the car. I hope it was a 1976 Ford Cortina 2000E, one of my favourites. What you must remember is I inherited that car, and I gave it a blooming good service. Fixed all the cracks and the welding, and got it MOT ready. And unfortunately, I was sacked as the tester. So it then went in for its MOT, and things have been ticking over nicely. So why would this council vote to stall it now? It is bizarre. If there was a clear agenda, or you could cite things, Dennis is a terrible leader. Now fancy me as a Conservative saying, actually, I think he's done a blooming good job under the circumstances, and I think they now know, and Jamil's told me, that they knew I was, and the officers knew that, and whoever is in the driving seat. It is a very challenging thing to be leader of this council in no overall control. And I also don't see, and bear in mind we've got elections, and I hope to win some seats back, and maybe some members may join, you never know. It changes daily here, if we're talking about numbers. So look, I don't think, and I've told, and I'll assume it's
Ms. Councillor Fitzgerald, can you sum up, please?
I'm told it's Councillor Farouk, but I don't know that, because in actual fact, it may not actually be him, but he may not know that either. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. So I won't be supporting the motion for those reasons. And just to be clear, my group, they'll speak for themselves. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry to take so much time.
Thank you. Councillor Jamil.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So much has been said. It's been a pleasure to serve under Dennis Jones as a leader. I've never met someone more passionate about this city for someone who's only lived here 25 years. You know, you'd think he was born and bred here as well. But I've got to say, I was there with many of the people here at FSWG. This alliance that then voted, they took us all the way to the end, said, yeah, we're with you. And at the end, they came up with their own proposals, they came up with some of their own policies, and then decided that they can't support that budget that they helped put together. I asked people, what does that say about that group that are going to get together? You know, you do something, you put time and effort in. We are talking at least 10, 12 meetings. How much officer time was wasted in that? You know, they said something, the officers answered, and we got to the end, and they said, we can't do this. And the majority of the people in there now want to form a coalition and run this council. Come on, people, wake up and smell the music.
Thank you. Councillor Amjad Iqbal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wasn't prepared to speak, but I just want to make some comments. I like engaging with Christian Hogg, and I would like him to respond to my question that I'm going to raise. Now, actually, what we need to be focusing on is on the motion that is before us. That's our focus. Now, I'm looking at paragraph 1, where it says reduction in councillors. But my respectful submission to that point would be that the Labour group still are the majority group in the council. Then it talks about doubting the capacity of the administration to effectively deliver. Now, where is the evidence to substantiate that? You know, you've not highlighted anything, you've not given any evidence to show that they've been a failure. Then it talks about any formal agreement from other parties. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence where you could demonstrate that you've approached the administration to have a formal agreement with them and they've rejected? However, on the contrary, when I was a part of the Labour group, we did offer Peterborough First to form an alliance with us, and they rejected it. Then I'm going to go and say something about Christian Hogg's opening speech. He talks about precarious position. Now, who has put us in a precarious position? I've been at council for about 8 years. The budget meeting is a very vital meeting. If you can provide an alternative budget, then you go against it. Otherwise, you support it. And at that time, I said that that budget was a FSWG budget. Why did I say that? Why am I maintaining that? Was we were part of it. All the groups were part of it. We were contributing towards the budget. It was open and transparent. So there's no reason to say that it was an administration budget. Then Councillor Farouk says the administration has been sleeping at the wheel. Councillor Farouk, me and you have been sleeping. It's the opposition's job to hold the administration to account. If they are sleeping, it's our job to wake them up. So I think that blame comes on me as an independent councillor and on the opposition. If you felt that they've made any failures, where have you highlighted them? Or are you waiting for the right moment where there's a vote of no confidence, then I could highlight it. If that's the case, then I consider it as an opportunity. I cannot support this motion on the basis that Labour group, I'm not part of the Labour group, there's a chair in between to show you that I'm not part of it, that they form the majority and they deserve to administrate the council because the people have voted them in and they deserve the due respect and an opportunity to govern. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions from anybody? Oh, sorry, Chris Harper. Councillor.
Sorry, yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think, to be fair, most has been said now, so I'm not going to repeat too much, although the challenge has gone out as what is wrong. So, as Councillor Farouk has already said, this wasn't a vote of no confidence. This is something that we felt we had no choice but to do. A budget, as has been said, that barely scraped through. We have cultural services, libraries and other community facilities absolutely living on a knife edge, and it's just dragging on and on and on. We've even had a question from the public today that just shows how long these things are dragging on and on and on. A woeful swimming pool provision, but hopefully we'll get somewhere with that. A hotel that's an absolute white elephant and embarrassment to this city. The old Woolworths TK Maxx building. How many more years is that just going to sit empty? It doesn't bring any money in. We haven't sold it. there's a failure. We've had so many plans and promises that just haven't delivered. Yet every year, how does it look right that we just up council tax by the maximum while we appear to be throwing money away on grandiose projects, irrespective of whether the actual combined authority are paying for it or paying towards it? It still takes officers' time, it still takes investment. That costs money. That costs the taxpayer money. When all the people of this city want are good services, the ones that they pay their tax for, and for them to be delivering properly. Now, some of you won't like it, but the fact is, I can't believe, and I'm honest, how well the three groups have got on in coming to this decision to put this vote of no confidence in. We've found much common ground. Some people obviously can't stop being rude. Madam Mayor?
Sorry, Councillor Samir Ali, you have a...
That's not a point of order.
That's not a point of order. Sorry.
Could I ask that you read the rules? Thank you. Yeah. As a joint proposed administration, which is what we're putting forward, we are very much together on this. And I would like to thank, at this point, all those groups for getting together. This has took hours and hours of talking, negotiation. We've all got our own, well, probably not Peterborough first, but certainly from a political party, the Greens and Liberal Democrats have their own national politics. But we've come together, we've found that common ground. That's to be commended. The biggest common ground, and we've heard it tonight, it may well have been said in jest with one person, it's our goal. It's the people before politics. Three groups have come together to make that commitment to this city, to take out the big party politic, boys and girls, and put the people first. The current administration, as has been said, do not have a single ward councillor in a rural ward. They don't represent the whole of the city. Greens, Lib Dems and Peterborough First do. And of course our Conservative friends have some too. We have devolution on the horizon. We've heard what a disaster that looks like it's going to be. We haven't been at the table. But we should have been at the forefront working with the city MPs and of course the combined authority mayor to bring the best money and the best deals for Peterborough. Madam Mayor,
sum up, please. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I commend this proposed group, the new joint administration, to this chamber and ask for everybody to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers? No. In that case, Councillor Boyce, would you like to exercise your right to speak as seconder of the motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no further comments to make apart from asking for a recorded vote if that's possible.
Councillor Hogg, would you like to sum up on this motion?
Certainly, Madam Mayor. There's quite a lot here that I've had to write down from various people. Councillor Janice Jones talking about grabbing the wheel. I've never had to grab the wheel of a vehicle, but I would understand that being a driving instructor, he's probably had to do that on many occasions. And I'm kind of guessing that when you did so, you didn't do recklessly, you didn't cause any accidents, and you essentially steadied the vehicle so that there wasn't an accident, and that was the whole point of grabbing the wheel. There's been talk of power grabs. The flip side to that is hanging on to power desperately as your numbers deplete. Labour talk about it has to be the largest party. Well, just over a year ago, they were happy to support Peterborough First taking over. They weren't the largest party at that stage, but they had the support of 31 councillors at that time, and it was a responsible thing to do. And Labour were fully behind removing the Conservatives from administration at that point. Councillor Howard, sour grapes. I'm sorry, but you've moved away from the Conservatives. You talked about toxic cultures, and as you left, there was a good amount of backlash to yourself personally from the Conservative group, and yet you've gone back into that abusive situation, supposedly. You've kind of made your bed, and I just feel that maybe you feel that you've made the wrong decision in going back into, and it's just a bit of sour grapes, I have to say. I mean, you even said in the you talk about supporting the budget and how we didn't support the budget, but you've said in your column recently that if you'd only known, you would have voted against the budget. So it seems that you actually agree with us when we voted against the budget, that you only wish that you'd seen what we'd seen at the time, and that you'd had not supported that budget. It's not about the decisions that have been made, it's about the decisions that haven't been made. We've had a local asset review for decades now. So it's not just on the Labour administration. There was the previous administration before, a lack of impetus. There was a libraries review, which again I think it was taken by the Conservatives. Councillor Howard was involved in that, and it still hasn't had a response on that. And I understand
Councillor
we've now...
you've had 3 minutes. Can you sum up, please?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I hadn't even got to the fact that the Labour has not got a majority. They have 28% of the chamber currently. That is not a thing. And as far as forcing yourself onto others in terms of getting an agreement, that is clearly something that needs to be learnt. It's not something you can do. It's about negotiating, and if you can't negotiate with one, you negotiate with somebody else. I hope that you can see that I didn't want to get nasty, but at the end of the day,
Councillor Hogg.
Can we just get to the vote then, please? Thank you.
Thank you. There's been a request for recorded vote from Councillor Boyce. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Harper was first, sorry. And now I need 15 people. No, can you all stand up, please? That want to? Oh, I think we've got 15. Is that more than 15?
That's more than 15.
Yeah, that's more than 15. Thank you. Thank you. That's my mic. Thank you. I will now hand over to Rachel, who will run the vote.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We are now voting on the motion of no confidence. I'm going to call your name out individually. You need to tell me whether you're for, against, or you're abstaining. Okay? So, Councillor Ahmed.
Against.
Councillor Imtiaz Ali.
For.
Councillor Zamir Ali. Councillor Allen.
Against the motion.
Councillor Antunes.
For.
Councillor Ayres. Councillor Barkham.
Against.
Councillor B.
Against.
Councillor Bisbee.
For.
Councillor Blakemore Creedon.
Against.
Councillor Andrew Bond.
For.
Councillor Sandra Bond.
For.
Councillor Boyce.
For.
Councillor Sereste. Councillor Cole.
Against.
Councillor Day.
For.
Councillor Dowson. Councillor Ellis.
Against.
Councillor Elsey.
For.
Councillor Farid.
For.
Councillor Mohammed Farouk.
For.
Councillor Saqib Farouk.
For.
Councillor Fitzgerald. Councillor Judy Fox.
For.
Councillor John Fox.
For.
Councillor Geraghty.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Hemraj.
Against.
Councillor Peter Hiller.
For.
Bear with. Councillor Sarah Hillier.
For.
Councillor Hogg, sorry.
For.
Councillor Howard.
Against.
Councillor Amjad Iqbal.
Against.
Councillor Newman Iqbal.
Against.
Councillor Jamil.
Against.
Councillor Jenkins.
Against.
Councillor Alison Jones.
Against.
Councillor Dennis Jones.
Against.
Councillor Khan.
Against.
Councillor Knight.
Against.
Councillor Mahmood.
Against.
Councillor McNally.
Against.
Councillor Ormston.
Abstain.
Councillor Perkins.
Against.
Councillor Kayoum.
Against.
Councillor Rafiq.
Against.
Councillor Rangzeb.
For.
Councillor Ray.
Against.
Councillor Sabir.
Against.
Councillor Seeger.
For.
Councillor Anne Shahid.
With reservations for.
Councillor Asif Shahid.
For, please, Rachel.
Councillor Skibstead.
For.
Councillor Stevenson.
For.
Councillor Strangward.
Against.
Councillor Thirlbourne.
Against.
Councillor Ty.
For.
Councillor Warren.
Against.
And Councillor Wiggin.
For.
Bear with, please. I just need to tally with the team. Okay, thank you, everyone. The results are 26 in favour. There was 32 against. There was 1 abstention. Therefore, this motion is defeated.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to adjourn for 15 minutes. Thank you. Right, please be seated.
Okay.
So
heavy, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you. Oh dear. Right, get settled. Right. We are now moving to the reports that were adjourned from the annual council meeting on the 19th of May. The appointment of the executive leader scheme of delegation, committee seats with chairs and vice chairs, and appointments to other authorities will be emailed to all members on appointment of the leader of the council. I think that's been done. I invite the leader to inform the council of their executive and the leader scheme of delegation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to those people who've continued to put their trust in me and this administration. Yes, it's been a tough year. Yes, it's not the financial envelope isn't going to get any better or any bigger. But what I would like to do is put everything that's gone on tonight behind us. Nobody's got the monopoly on wisdom, and I hope that we will continue as a group, as a chamber, to work together for the one reason why we're all here, which is for the betterment of the city that we were all elected to represent. In doing that, I would wish to continue with the same cabinet, with the addition of 3 cabinet advisors in Councillor Zamir Ali, Councillor Noreen B and Councillor Asim Mahmood. The North Ward Massive. Everything else is will be emailed out to members. Thank you.
Thank you. I now invite the Deputy Leader to second these appointments, which are to note.
Madam Mayor, I have the greatest pleasure in seconding all those posts.
Thank you. As this item was to note, I will now move on to item 13B, committee structures for 2025-26. I now invite the Leader of the Council to move the recommendations.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I do. Remove the recommendations.
Thank you.
Move. I did say move. I knew I said move.
Say move. Thank you. I now invite the Deputy Leader of the Council to second the recommendations.
Definitely moving the recommendation.
Thank you. Does any member wish to begin debate? Councillor Fitzgerald.
I was just wondering whether there was an offer of coalition on the table in light of the previous discussions. My door's always open, Dennis, although I don't actually have a door anymore.
So I don't have to do the second. No. I now invite the Leader of the Council to sum up.
I think I've already said, Madam Mayor, that I was absolutely delighted, and thank you to everybody in the chamber, and thanks for a good debate, and hopefully we can all move forward. And that's my scheme of delegations, and I would wish everybody well in their roles going forward.
Thank you. The recommendations proposed is to approve the committee structure for the 2025-26 municipal year. Are these agreed, or shall we now move to the vote? Agreed? Thank you. I will now move on to item 13C, political balance and allocation of committee seats. I would like to invite the Leader of the Council to move the recommendations.
If I've got my teeth in correctly, Madam Mayor, I'd like to move the recommendations.
Thank you. I now invite the Deputy Leader of the Council to second the recommendations.
Madam Mayor, I definitely second the recommendations.
And do you want to reserve your right to speak? No.
I think I think you'll find we're mostly
Thank you.
agreed, so I don't want to speak afterwards.
Does any member wish to begin debate? No. Is that all agreed? Thank you. Right. does it start, does it? Just here. Oh, here now. Right, that. I will now move on to item 13D, appointments to committees and other authorities. I would like to invite the Leader of the Council to move the recommendations.
The invitation is gratefully accepted, Madam Mayor, and I move the recommendations.
Thank you. I now invite the Deputy Leader of the Council to second the recommendations.
I have the greatest pleasure again to second the recommendations as set out by my leader.
Thank you. Does any member wish to begin debate? No. Is that all agreed? Thank you. So do I go here now? That one? That one?
On the motion there.
Is it this? Excuse me a moment. Is it that one there?
We've done those.
You've done that.
So we move to the...
That. We will now move to the second motion on notice from Councillor Imtiaz Ali. Councillor Ali, would you like to move your motion as set out in the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through yes, I would. And I didn't think when I was putting this motion together, this would be the least controversial of the two motions that came to Council today. I'm very sad to have to table this motion, as it shows that we are either knowingly or unknowingly investing in companies that do not comply with the United Nations principles around responsible investing and the guiding principles on human rights. I do wish to advise the Council that under Council Standing Order 21.8, I propose to amend the wording of the motion on page 36, the fourth bullet. The word genocide is replaced with the words ongoing massacre. Democratic Services have had the updated version, but all members should note this change before debate. I should also state that although many members said they found it difficult to get behind this motion if that word were to remain, it doesn't necessarily change my view, as what I believe is what we're seeing live in 4K on a daily basis is anything other than Israel committing a genocide in Gaza. What I do not want, though, is for members to be put off from voting for what is otherwise a very sensible set of resolves in the motion because of an objection to the wording in the preamble. In pulling this motion together, I saw how difficult it was to get under the hood of our investments in the Cambridgeshire pension scheme, how obscured some of the data was, the complications with pooling, and how many layers there are between the people of Peterborough and the actual investments in the scheme. But I must really highlight the excellent support that I've had from Peterborough's Palestine Solidarity Campaign, as well as support from officers who have been engaged in the process over the last couple of months. What has humbled me a little in this process is the willingness of fellow members to engage in conversations about the issues this motion is trying to address. I've had the mammoth task of speaking to members across all parties in this chamber, as well as independent councillors, and I've found you all to be receptive, respectful, and open to the ideas presented, and for that I am grateful. Madam Mayor, this motion is essentially asking us to tighten up on the good things that we do already. Everyone in this chamber is for human rights. Everyone is for ethical investment, and no one wants to profit from companies that are breaking the law. In bringing this motion to Council, I found that there are a number of companies that our pension fund invests in that should be excluded from our investments on the basis of responsible investments. I also found that our banking partner is one of the lowest rated for ethical banking. I should mention that following a little hesitation from our CFO, I did amend the motion to say that we should retender our banking contracts as soon as is practically possible, which is what it now says in the motion. And although the headline number of £180 million is invested in companies with unethical practices, it may sound like a lot, but it only represents around 3% of the total assets in the Cambridgeshire pension scheme. With almost £5 billion in total investments, moving this kind of money around isn't too onerous for our investment banking friends. And for those members who are concerned about financial impacts, let me assure you, ethical investment is not only a principled stance, but also increasingly recognised as sound financial management. Companies that disregard international law and human rights often carry reputational and legal risks. Divestment played a significant role in the fight against apartheid in South Africa by putting economic pressure on the government and raising international awareness of the cause. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International both state that Israel's policies towards Palestine amount to apartheid. This is even before the current massacre that has killed over 60,000 people, mostly women and children, and the denial of aid to the 2 million plus civilian population in Gaza. Let me be clear. This is not about politics. This is not about choosing sides in a geopolitical conflict. This is about whether we as a council choose to uphold the universal principles of human rights and international law. It is about ensuring that our investments do not fund oppression wherever it may occur. Madam Mayor, I hope we can hear some good debate on this motion, and I hope we can all remain respectful, especially since the subject matter is sensitive. And finally, Madam Mayor, I sincerely hope that all members can support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jamil, I understand that you wish to second this motion, and if you wish to speak now, you'll reserve your right to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do wish to second the motion, but I will reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. Does any member wish to debate the motion?
Councillor Mahmood first.
Oh, Councillor Mahmood, was it? Councillor Blakemore-Creedon? Oh, sorry. Oh, Councillor Mahmood was first. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank Councillor Ali for putting this motion forward and his accommodation on the wording. I will be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Blakemore-Creedon?
I support the principles this motion claims to uphold: human rights, ethical investment, and a commitment to justice. These are values I deeply believe in. This motion includes strong and specific references to Israel, calling it an illegal occupier. Despite removing the word genocide, this motion still refers to Israel committing apartheid, which is something I can't get behind, and ask for this to be changed. Yet it also states that we as a council are committed to representing every resident in our international city and upholding everyone's right. However, where does that leave our Jewish community? Myself being part of that community. Where does it leave people in Peterborough who support Israel's right to exist and defends it itself? Are their voices reflected here, or have they been excluded? I support ethical standards. I support responsible investment, but this motion singles out one country, and it does so under the name of inclusion. While being represented by someone who has a track record, risk alienating an entire community in our city. We need to do better than this. If we're serious about inclusion, then that includes all of our communities, including those who support Israel and those concerned about rising anti-Semitism. Motions like this must be handled with balance, with care, and with an eye to unity, not division, because human rights are for everyone. And if we want to be credible in standing for them, we must start by living up to that standard ourselves. Therefore, I will not be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I'll be supporting this motion, but I believe it could and should go further and look at all unethical investments that support war, human suffering in all areas across the world. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any more speakers? No? Councillor Jamil, would you like to exercise your right to speak as seconder of the motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know about other councillors, but my inbox, certainly in the last couple of weeks, has been so saturated by residents, people who we represent, who've asked me to support this motion. And I, like my colleague Councillor Cole, actually believe it should be ethical, should be right across the board. It shouldn't just be related to this. Now, I understood and I take on board what Councillor Blakemore-Creedon has said, but this is a situation that's happening before our eyes every day. It's aimed at a country which, in some people's opinion, they are committing, and we took out the word G word, but it's atrocities. We see every day children being killed. This motion actually has got very little to that. This is all about us and our pension policies, and it's a small step in trying to get down that road where we try and find a viable solution to the problems that have been there. So I would say it's a small step, but I would ask members to support this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Ali, would you like to sum up on this motion?
Not particularly, but I feel like I have to. This motion, Councillor Blakemore Credence made a criticism and then highlighted something else which I thought was in poor taste. This is not an attack on the Jewish community. I'm an anti-racist committed my whole life. My politics are all around equality, diversity. I'm a member of the Green Party for that very reason. I'm absolutely not an Islamophobe or an anti-Semite or anti-black or anti-white or anti-Irish or any other kind of racism. This motion is absolutely brought to this council because of what's currently going on in Gaza. And what it shows is we have ethical investment policies within our pension schemes, but they are not being applied. It's not isolating Israel. If you look at the motion, if you read the motion, it talks about Russia, and it talks about what Russia has done to Ukraine. It's annexing parts of Ukraine. It's attacked Ukraine illegally under international law. The difference here is when Russia attacked Ukraine, there was a top-down movement to make investments in Russian companies not tangible for pension schemes. There was wholesale divestment across LGPSs across the whole country. I've checked with Treasury Management Services. We did a check ourselves here in Peterborough City Council to ensure that we are not complicit with the war crimes being committed by Russia. That's what we've done. We've not done the same thing with other conflicts. So this is not about isolating one country. This is saying whenever this happens, anywhere it happens, we need to be making sure that our pensioners are not profiting from war crimes. Doesn't matter which country commits them. And I would really like to request that Councillor Blakemore Creedon does not equate criticism of a state with criticism of a religion, because criticism of Israel is valid when it does something wrong. Criticism of Saudi Arabia is valid when it does something wrong. You will not see me jumping up and down shouting Islamophobia if somebody criticizes the human rights violations in Saudi Arabia, the center of the Muslim world. So that's absolutely beyond the pale what she's saying there. That's all I want to say. With the exception of that, I think we've had decent debate, and I hope members can support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we need to go to the vote. Yes, we'll go to the vote. So I'll hand over to Rachel, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, we're now using the electronic voting system. I think we're ready to go. So, councillors, we're voting on the motion from Councillor Ali. If you press your green button, it's for, it's red is against, and abstain. The vote is live. I'm looking, but yes, I'm getting thumbs up. Vote's live. If it's not working, can you raise your hand, please? But thanks. Councillor Stevenson, are you happy to give your vote manually to us? Thank you. And Councillor Howard, are you happy to do the same? Thank you. Can you close the vote, Chris, if that's the case? Oh. Can I do it? Can I just say, can all those abstain, and then all those against? Yeah. Okay, members, the voting system's not working, unfortunately. So I'm going to go backwards on this. Can you raise your hand or your yellow card if you're abstaining, please? And my team are going to count. Abstain, just the yellow cards. Abstain, please. Thank you. Can we just count? 16, yep. Okay. We're doing the abstentions first, the yellow cards. We're going backwards because it's easier to do. So can we count again? Because we got more, Charlotte. Sorry. Abstentions only, please. 15, I'll get now. Do you get 15? Right. Abstentions down, please. Against, please. Red cards. Thank you. And I take it everyone else is for, okay? Sorry, you can put your cards down now. Sorry, we just had to do a bit of calculation, and it's been a very, very long day today. So, so we have 39 in favour, we have 15 abstentions, and we have 4 against. Therefore, this is carried. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. That is the end of tonight's meeting. Have a safe journey home. Thank you.